This story is about a wildly inappropriate mother who would 100% FCK her son if she could. Although I wish this was a fiction story. Everything I'm saying is 100% true. The first wildly inappropriate mother I encountered, let's call her Sandy, was when I dated her son, let's call him Mark, for about 9 months when I was 15, 16 years old. Mark was a little older, so he was 17, 18 at the time. Mark was my first love, so I put up with a lot of shit I shouldn't have. But I was young and dumb. Mark was extremely controlling and possessive, like I wasn't allowed to wear yoga pants to school. I wasn't allowed to hang out with my friends more than I was hanging with him. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere without telling him first, etc., etc. My first of many inappropriate experiences with his mother, Sandy, happened when my favorite artist at the time, Woody Allen, came out with a new album. I was so excited because I had just started driving, so I ran to Target to buy his CD album for my car the same day that it was released. Mark got extremely pissed at me because he said it was inappropriate to be obsessing over a man that was on him. I spent hours fighting back and forth with him about how I was on obsessing over Hootie as a person. I just liked his music. We finally got over the fight after I had to apologize profusely for seeming too excited and obsessed with Woody Allen. An hour or so later, I received a text message from his mother. This happened almost 10 years ago, so I don't remember exactly what she said, but I know it was along the lines of, "I was talking to Mark and he told me about your inappropriate obsession with another man. It does not matter if it's a celebrity, a music artist, or someone at the grocery store. It's completely inappropriate to obsess over anyone who isn't my son, the man you are in a relationship with. He is extremely hurt by your actions. And I hope you reconsider posting anything online about Woody Allen or his music, since you are very aware of how much your actions have hurt my son." I remember being so upset that his mom was angry with me, and I apologized to her and then apologized again to Mark. Fast forward a few months later, and Mark was mad at me again and said it hurt his feelings, that he was always the one who had to initiate sex between us. Keep in mind, I was literally 16. I didn't even know what to do with a penis. But anyway, we were supposed to hang out at his house. Later in the week, we would usually hang at his house instead of mine, because at my house, we had to have the door open wherever we were hanging out, per my parents' rules. At his house, his room was in the basement, and his parents didn't care what we did. We could have the door shut and locked if we wanted. So anyways, we're hanging out like usual, and he said that his mom wanted to discuss something with me. I was freaking out because at this point, I already knew that Sandy was crazy. So Mark left his room and yelled up to his mom that I was ready. She walked in his room and closed the door behind her, so it was just us two, and she sat on his bed across from me. She had a bag with her, and she opened the bag to show me a bunch of different boxes of condoms. I just looked at her with a blank stare because I didn't know what was going on. And she said something like, "Mark expressed to me how you haven't been initiating sex, and I can relate because it's a similar problem I have in my marriage to his dad. I got you a bunch of different condoms to try out, because Mark told me how sensitive you are and I thought it could be a fun game for you to try them. And figure out which one you like the best. My son deserves to have all his needs met by his partner, and even if it's uncomfortable for you, it's your job to fulfill all of his needs, but especially sexually. So he doesn't look elsewhere. You don't want that, do you?" I don't even know what I said or how I responded to her, but she even went on to say something about how she knows Mark. S size is smaller than average, but his dad S is the same size, and it is still possible to have a good sex life. I mean, can you fucking imagine being a grown-ass adult mother, telling your son's 16-year-old girlfriend that it's her job to satisfy her son sexually, and talk about his penis size? Insanity. To make things even worse, after I got mad at him for telling her about our sex life, she pulled me aside later on to tell me that she birthed Mark. So, she deserves to know everything that is going on in his life, and no matter what happens between us, his mother will always be the #1 woman in his life. And the sooner I accept that, the easier our relationship would be. The last Sandy encounter I will be sharing is when I went out to eat with his family. It was me, Mark, Sandy, his dad, and his younger brother, who was 11 at the time. We were eating at a restaurant when somehow the topic of sex came up. Mark's parents were dying laughing together, then looked at his little brother and said, "One time we had sex next to you in the car while you were in your car seat and we had to use your bib to clean up our mess." The little brother understandably said gross, and
for the next 10 minutes. Sandy talked in depth about the different positions that she and her husband do have tried and then asked Mark and me if we've ever tried them. I was so uncomfortable and didn't say anything, but Mark started to name all the positions we have tried. But that I am not very adventurous, and if only I was more like Sandy. Sandy just loved that comment and laughed and smiled for the rest of dinner. This entire inappropriate-ass conversation happened at a restaurant. While eating in front of there were definitely more horrible experiences with that woman. But those are the main ones that came to mind. I'm 25 now, and it still baffles me that a grown woman could do or say those things to a 16-year-old girl. He also wouldn't be surprised if Sandy straight up fucked her son.